We will be starting off with the animation changes, since these include some of the most important bug fixes. Valve finally addressed the misaligned hitboxes, which were most likely introduced with the update from the 6th of October, where they made some improvements to the animation system. This caused the character models and the hitboxes to be misaligned, which you can see in the background footage right now. This is how it looked before the update. And this is how it looks like now after the update, so there no longer seems to be any issues regarding the hitboxes being misaligned, which I'm very glad to see. I would also like to point out that some of the animation issues that were introduced with the update from the 6th of October have been resolved as well. This is how some of the animations previously looked like. You can see the AK looks really messed up. The same happened with the M4 as an example and other weapons as well. And this is how the animations look like after yesterday's update. So Valve has really done their homework and addressed these glaring issues with the game. However, I would like to point out that some of these animations aren't perfect yet and they still need some tweaks here and there, especially the AWP. The next issue they fixed with this update is the knife spinning not feeling as fast as it did in CSGO. This is very nice to hear for Karambit owners because this is something we talked about in a previous video. Previously, the knife was just super slow in comparison to CSGO, but now it's basically as fast as it was in CSGO. I think it's even faster and it looks a bit silly now, but I kinda like it. It's pretty nice. Good job, Valve. They also fixed the bolt not moving during the M4A4 and M4A1S deployment animations, which they messed up with one of the recent updates, so I'm very glad to see they fixed this as well, which you can see side by side in the background. And lastly, for the animation category, they fixed the bug where the weapon inspect could interrupt the silencer toggle animation, which I didn't notice before, but it's good they fixed it. Moving on to the graphics related changes, they fixed the case where the feet would appear black when looking down at them through a scope. This also occurred sometimes when just looking at them, which you can see in the background footage right now. And they've also fixed the memory leak due to particles. Moving on to the miscellaneous changes, they fixed several bugs with looking to play. Previously, looking to play didn't really work as intended and there were some issues associated with it, but now it seems to work. They fixed the bug where the loadout changes weren't saved if the game was closed shortly after making changes, and they've also addressed the bug where Steam Friends match status was delayed or missing completely. They've made some CPU performance improvements for weapon tracers. Not entirely sure if my method of testing here really works, but we can see that we lose slightly less frames per second, which is really nice to see. And they also added an official matchmaking data center in China. With this update, we have also received various bug fixes and tweaks to weapon finishes and stickers. However, this time around I wasn't able to spot major differences in comparison to previous videos, but I would like to point out that the AWP duality looks slightly different and has received some sort of shine to it as well. However, Valve still has a lot of work ahead of them, as some weapon finishes and gloves as an example still look worse than they did in CSGO, and stickers are still quite oversized on some weapon models, which is something they will hopefully address in the near future. Moving on to the maps, we have received various bug fixes and tweaks to Mirage, Vertigo and Nuke. Starting off with Nuke, Valve addressed an issue that recently appeared on Nuke, where the windows on A side were transparent, as you can see in the background footage. This has now been resolved with the most recent update, and that's basically all that I've noticed with Nuke. Moving on to Mirage, which has received some adjustments to certain textures. Previously on some props we had these light artifacts, which now have been fixed by Valve. On A-side Mirage, they've also made some adjustments to this ladder area, which was found by 4CS on Twitter, so definitely make sure to follow them. And last but not least for Vertigo, this change was also discovered by 4CS, so full credits go to them. This area has received some slight adjustments to these cones, as you can see in the background footage. Last but not least, we have also received the CSGO Legacy version with this update, which you can access by going to your Steam library, right-clicking Counter-Strike 2, going to Properties, Beta, and then select the CSGO Legacy version. You then have to download 12 GB. After that, if you click play, you will receive a brand new launch option. When launching the Legacy version, you will be greeted with this message. This is the legacy version of CSGO, support for it will end on January 1st, 2024. If you launch Counter-Strike 2 and ended up here, your hardware configuration may be incompatible with Counter-Strike 2. For more information, visit Steam support. If you go to the Steam support page, there may be some bad news for some users, as Valve is basically ending support for DirectX 9 and 32-bit operating systems, as well as no longer supporting macOS, which I've received some comments about on a previous video. As far as I'm aware, you can do anything besides matchmaking. I think you can even open cases in CSGO, which is going to be great news for OwnAPixel. Anyways, that's going to conclude today's video. I hope it was informative and enjoyable. Thank you so much for watching it, and I will see you of course in the next video. Bye guys.